Hi everyone, I'm Nishka and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode of Our Life, we are going to be finishing, not finishing, but like doing the last moment of step 2. And then after that, we're on to step 3. Can you guys believe it? We are finally here. I can't. Okay, so this moment is called Soiree. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the subscribe button and share it with their friends so then they can find my amazing channel just like you have right now. So yeah, just let's get into it and I hope you enjoy. You whirled away in the morning, doing whatever struck your fancy, and now you were recharging with lunch. With nothing on the horizon, you were free to spend as much or as little time on your plate as you wanted. It was while you were thinking all the possibilities for your afternoon that your moms approached you. Hi, Mina. You okay? Mouthful, you nod in reply. To your surprise, they both sat with you at the table. Based on the time, you had wondered if they were joining you for a meal, but neither of them brought anything.
Alright.
Great, we wanted to have a little chat with you. Ooh, okay. The qualifier little did nothing to downplay the situation. Your chewing slowed as your eyes widened, looking from one parent to the other. Anything that required both of them to talk to you must be something big. It was unsettling. You didn't like being the only one not knowing what was going on. Stomach churning, you waited for them to fill you in.
There.
Aw, don't look so worried. It's nothing scary, promise. There's a soiree at the Cypress tomorrow night. Your mom and I are going. The Cypress was the country club your moms were a part of and where Elizabeth played golf. It seemed like every other month they had some event or another with fancy names like Soiree. Chewing your lip, you wondered what this had to do with you. Mom chuckled at your poorly concealed reaction. Leaning in, Mom took your hand and squeezed it. We decided to make the night a little bit special. Elizabeth's going to be allowed to stay home fully alone for the first time.
Sorry.
You'll still be coming to the party with us. It's Elizabeth's night to party with no family around, not yours. Sorry, you've got to wait a couple more years. Okay, we're fine with that. What's the story going to be like? Sorry. The usual. Well, mostly. We wanted to make a special night for you too. So we've got something a little extra planned. That was unexpected. Interested, you listened. Your parents shared a look across the table. You cleared your throat, reminding them that you were waiting. They couldn't keep dropping such hints and then turn coy when the conversation was about to get good.
Well,
Since it's a pretty fancy party that's still chaperoned, and attendees are allowed to bring a guest, we thought it might be a nice opportunity for you to invite someone yourself as a date if you want. Listen, Mina, you're gonna get up or you're gonna finish your meal, whatever. You're gonna go to the front door, open it, close it, go across the street, knock on the door, ask Hope, and then you're good. Your eyes widened as the words sunk in. Your mom's continued, and it was a struggle to keep up. Even though we'll be at the party too, you don't need to worry about us getting in your way. You'll be free to eat, dance, and enjoy the music as you see fit. But no leaving the property. Ma nodded at Mom's interjection.
isn't that great?
Yes, as long as you don't leave the party, and if you'd rather just bring a friend, that's a-okay too. That's amazing. You must have lit up because your parents shared an amused look again.
Don't worry about it.
The story isn't until tomorrow, so you've got time. Just let us know your plans before heading out. And that's all. We leave you to your lunch now. Okay, so it is lunch. Your moms rose from the chairs in unison, disappearing to another part of the house. You barely noticed their departure. All you could think of was what just happened. The remnants of your lunch stared up at you from your plate. You had lost your appetite. The last thing on your mind was food. You rose from the table and cleared your plate as you tried to untangle the thoughts in your head. Even though you relocated to your bedroom, your head was stuck on the conversation that had unfolded at the dining table downstairs. You knew that. You wanted it to be a date. Come on, girlie. Let's be bold. The prospect of having your first date made it impossible to sit still. You couldn't help but juggle your foot as you laid on your bed, contemplating the possibility. That night, being a date would mean actually asking someone out. Little you knew of that came from what you'd seen on TV and movies, and what you'd heard about from kids at school. Your moms hadn't even entertained the idea of you dating until now. You went over possible words and phrases in your head, setting up scenarios and smooth swigs before tearing them down and trying something else. You realize that you've been mentally scripting Cove as the one you were asking. Oh Lord. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Oh Lord, oh Lord! I swear, this character is just like me. Like, with, setting up scenarios. I daydream about that a lot. And then her mentally scripting Cove. My crush is the one who I scripted, so I mean, it's like exactly like me. It had been his name repeating inside your mind, his face lighting up as you invited him to join you. This is me. You buried your face into the pillow. Your cheeks felt like they were burning, so naturally you tried to smother them with a soft pillow. There was no one to see your embarrassment, but you felt it keenly all the same. It was almost ridiculous how Cove always made you feel things like this, and there was seemingly nothing that could be done to prevent it. Sighing, you shifted position on the bed, resting your arms on the windowsill. A flock of birds caught your eye and lured your gaze as they crossed the sky. You watched the birds grow smaller and less distinct until they disappeared from sight. Like the snap of a hypnotist's fingers, you were released from the trance and left with a goal of your own. You were going to take a walk. I mean, go for it. You ambled through the familiar streets of your neighborhood, picking your path at whim. It was as quiet as ever, with tourists choosing to congregate in the shopping area near the beach rather than venture into the sleepy residential zones. You continued down the road and soon found yourself at the shore. The fresh, salty air hit you first, rolling to meet you over the grassy dunes that tickled your legs, followed by the familiar view of the sea stretching out across the horizon. You came to a halt. A lone figure was standing in the ocean, the water reaching up to his knees. It's Cove, it's Cove, it's Cove. Yes, it's Cove! Though he had his back to you, you recognized the familiar silhouette as Cove's. It made sense that you'd find him here. He always was in his element by the sea. You had no idea if he heard your arrival or if it was a coincidence, but you looked over his shoulder, your eyes met. Girl, you're gonna confidently head closer. You hadn't known you'd find Cove out in the wild, but since you had definitely wanted to make the most of it. You strode over to him without hesitation. Cove smiled at you, bathed in the soft light of the afternoon sun, with his hair gently tousled by the sea breeze. He looked especially charming. Oh my god. Dude, I'm getting embarrassed. He then fully turned around and began to wade through the water over to the shore. You hope he took his time to come over. You were nervous. We're not like that bold, confident person all the time. We get nervous, girl. Instead of standing at the shore, you felt like you were on the edge of a cliff. The question of whether to invite him, and if so, in what fashion, was in front of you, between leaping into a world unknown or enjoying the safety of the familiar. Mina. Hey, Mina, are you free right now? Not exactly. My moms are taking me to a soiree tomorrow at the country club. You winched at your abrupt... Oh my god, I just stuttered. You winched at your abrupt transition to the topic and hoped that Cove wouldn't mind. He had been known to dive into new and unconnected topics in the middle of a conversation after all. Sorry, huh? Sounds exciting? Alright, Pancake, what do you want? What the heck? Sounded like someone was at my door. And my dog wasn't there. He was smiling politely, but you could tell that your outing mention hadn't sparked much interest. Oh. Your heart, which had lodged itself somewhere in your throat when you spotted him, dropped. You stared at him, weighing your options. Cove tilted his head curiously as you fumbled with what to say next. Who better to invite on your first real date than Cove, the only person who who could make you feel giddy with just a smile, but you were afraid he'd think it was boring, or worse, wouldn't want to go with you as a date. Oh, girly. I mean, go big or go home, right? Closing your clammy fist, you swallowed and tried to conjure up the right words. Cove continued to watch you expectantly. It might have been easier to do this right now if he was wearing something other than just a swimsuit, girl. Are you serious? Mina. Do you want to go on a date with me? The words tumbled from your mouth. It was a miracle that they were all in the right order. Caught off guard, he lifted his hands in front of his chest out of surprise, and then he packed them down and across over his chest. He twisted his face to the side, no longer able to meet your eyes. He still couldn't hide the flush on his cheeks.
Oh my god.
Are you serious? I'm as serious as something serious. It's very serious is what I'm saying. His lips were pressed tightly together, preventing any more words from slipping out. You could tell he was nervous, but that was always easy to pick up on with him. Aw, Cove. It's okay. After another moment, he inclined his head, dipping it in a nod so slightly you might have missed it. Had you been able to tear your eyes from it. Yay! He accepted. Yay! Cove closed his eyes, trapped in an awkward pose. He was gripping his arms so tightly that the skin around his knuckles was fully taut. Are you okay? Cove exhaled at last, letting out a sigh that stretched into another tense silence. His stance loosened, his arms stayed crossed over his chest, but he was no longer clutching them like a shield. You didn't want to be the one to break the quiet. Thanks, Mina. I guess I'm gonna have to tell my dad and mom too. Right. I've gotta let my moms know you're going. Can you come with me? Yeah. It was a relief that he thought enough to manage speech again. You hoped that by the time you got to your house, he'd be able to manage full sentences once more. Cove went to where he discarded his things in the sand, tugging his shirt over his head and slipping on a pair of shoes before joining you and setting off home. Ugh. The two of you stepped inside the front door of your house. It was an action you'd taken together countless times, but your stomach had never churned quite like this on previous occasions. At the sound of the door opening, your mom poked her head into the hall.
Hello.
Ah, Cove, it's you. What a surprise. She chuckled at her own joke. Cove was always there, and she knew how close the two of you were. Bringing anyone other than him back would have been an actual surprise. Hi, Mrs. Rose. It's nice to see you. So I take it Cove's gonna be our guest for tomorrow night? Yep.
Wow.
And what kind of outing will it be? Her voice was hesitant but serious. Cove ducked his head down reflexively. You knew that he figured out what she was driving at. It's a date? Mom nodded in understanding. She wore a wispy smile. Mom's gonna be thrilled about this. Cove tilted his head back up just slightly. He peeked through the longer strands of his hair. Just her, Mrs. Rose? Good. Even if you'd not been able to see his wide, worried eyes, you'd have heard the anxiety in his voice. Your mom sighed and patted him on the arm. Oh, Cove, you're a great kid. Most parents hope that their kid meets such a special person someday. She glanced aside at Wary's expression on her face. Someday is the real key word here. There, I don't get it. She turned back to you both. But you just had to move in right across the street at 8 years old. What is she doing? Mom crouched down, shaking her head, and put a hand on each of Cove's shoulders.
Okay.
Cove, I hope you're planning on being very good to me, and I'm not, what? And I'm not just talking about tomorrow night. My God. Oh my God. I, I need a drink, dude. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Me right now. Girl, that was too much. I had to get a drink. Okay. She nudged him playfully on the cheek with a fist. Cove, who had been blushing when this all began, was now as red as a heirloom tomato. Okay, yeah, I was, or will? Oh my god. Ah! Stop embarrassing me. You covered your eyes with their hands, wishing it had been Ma down here when you'd come home. Then again, Ma would have been just as embarrassing, but in a different way. She might even have cried. He didn't speak further. His eyes looked down at his shuffling feet as he rubbed the scar on his arm. The redness remained intact. Okay, I put Cove through the ringer enough. The big day isn't even here yet. You wondered that minute she intended to give a repeat of this performance tomorrow. You were afraid to find out. I'll give your folks a call and get everything squared away. She headed off to get the phone, leaving the two of you alone. Cove's eyes darted to you, and he shot you a quick, delicate smile before staring at the ground again. I'm gonna go across the street, talk to my parents. Okay, bye, Cove. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye, Cove. Aw. You retreated from your home's entryway without another word. And the rest of the afternoon passed by just like that. Back in your room, your mind was alight with visions of tomorrow night. The story was something, but not as nearly as exciting as going on your first date. You were thrilled that Cove had actually said yes, that he was your genuine date to a party. You hugged your knees to your chest, overawed by the thought. The night couldn't come soon enough. The evening of the soiree had arrived, the daylight hours having slipped away in a blur. Up in your bedroom, you were getting ready for the big event. That was your intention at least, but you hadn't settled on an outfit. What? Stationed in front of your wardrobe, you scanned over the clothing you had at your disposal. Sorry. Though Ma had mentioned this event was a bit dressier than a normal get-together, you didn't necessarily have to comply. Look for something formal. You attempted to decide between the nicer pieces in your wardrobe, the ones that rarely had a chance to come out. You decided to dress formally because you wanted to make Ma happy. Being all fancied up for special occasions always had an impact. Any feelings you had for the clothes was nothing compared to the idea of her face lighting up when she saw you dressed so smartly. To start, you decided to wear a dress. The one you picked was light and had sheen. The silky material seemed to glide through your fingers as you took it from the wardrobe. It was a perfect fit for a summer evening party. You began to get dressed, your fingers working stiff zips and awkward fastenings. It felt different against your skin, reminding you with every movement that you were dressed up. You grimaced, telling yourself that it was just for one night. You could put up with this for that long, probably. Not dressed, you gave yourself a final glance over before heading downstairs, ready to head out. You found your moms already waiting in the living room. They were putting the finishing touches on their outfits. Ma strapping her heel into a stiletto shoe, and Ma trying to fasten a bracelet single-handed. They looked up as you entered. Aw, Mina, you look so nice, don't you think, Pam? Your expression spoke the words you were holding back, making your mom laugh. Thanks for dressing up, Mina. Once tonight's over, you can put those clothes to the back of your closet and forget about them for another few months. Mom was struggling with the bracelet. You lent a hand literally by taking one side and holding it as she secured the clasps. Thanks, kiddo. Mom then glanced over at the clock, seeing where the hands were pointing. A frown creased her face. When's Kev gonna be here, do you know? I'll go get him. Oh yeah? She raised her eyebrows, a broad grin replacing the earlier frown. That's very polite of you. Go sweep him off his feet. We want to leave in 10 minutes. Okay. Cove's house was mere seconds away from yours, making the warning unnecessary, but you dutifully dutifully went out. After crossing the street, you found yourself at 𝐸's very familiar front door. You rang the doorbell whose chime was lodged in your head from all the times you rung it over the years. Though, unlike usual, 𝐸's mom, Kira, was the one who answered it this night.
Come on.
Hey, Mina, come on in. She beckoned you inside as if she was so excited to see you that words alone weren't enough. Thanks for coming. The boys will be right down. They're just in 𝐸's room. I can call them if you want. It's alright, I can wait.
Great.
Sure. She took a seat on the sofa and patted a chair. Feel free to put your feet up. I love Kira. I love her so much. While you waited, Kira easily filled the time by chatting with you about your plans for the night ahead. A short while later, Mr. Holden strolled into the room, giving you a wave. Oh my god! Why am I so excited, dude? 𝐸 put his face into a snot as you reciprocated. The tension in his face faded away. You watched him taking in your outfit, swallowing and grinning at you again. I sound like a dying animal. I'm sorry, everyone. Oh my god. This is tea, sis. Oh my god, let's go! We got a man! Oh my lord. I'm just gonna take my time and eat. What time is it? Oh Jesus, 4:30? Sorry, I'm talking to myself. Okay. Hi, Mina. Hi, 𝐸. He opened his mouth to speak more than pause. 𝐸 checked the time using a clock hanging on a sidewall and addressed his parents. We've got to go. Oh my god, he's like, I'm out, bye. He abruptly headed towards the door.
Come on.
Where's the fire? Isn't there something you want to do before leaving for the dance? What? 𝐸 froze, witching at the call out, while his dad continued to smile encouragingly. Curious, you watched 𝐸 expectantly. Oh my god, is he gonna kiss us? Dude, like, when are we gonna kiss? I need that. It was hard to imagine what he would want to do before hanging out or what you'd have time for. Your mom's warning about not taking too long echoed in the back of your mind.
Come on.
We can do that later. Right, sorry, forget I said anything. Okay, bye, Mr. Holden and Miss Holden. Bye, Kira. Have a blast, you two. Bye. You ducked out, following 𝐸 into the street. 𝐸 sighed, wrapping a hand against his forehead. Seeing the look on your face, he shook his head.
It's okay.
I'm fine, it's nothing. That was good news. You didn't think 𝐸 would get much fun out of a party if he went in already feeling bad, but it didn't explain his actions or his dad's teasing question. What was your dad on about? His expression grew pained, his brow creased, and his mouth furrowed as he avoided meeting you in the eyes. Oh my god, dude, he's so cute. I can't help myself. You might have gotten worried if not for the flush coloring his face. He's just embarrassed. 𝐸 drew himself up before responding. Dad's been making a big deal out of everything ever since he found out about this. He gestured vaguely between him and you. How I'm dressed, how I should prepare, what was going to happen. He even looked up for the precise definition of a soiree in 2 dictionaries in case one was wrong. Oh my god, dude, your dad's crazy. That's a lot. Well, what do we expect from Mr. Holden? He is kind of crazy. He wanted to make sure I would know what to do at 1. So after he figured it out, he made sure to tell me about it. He exhaled, smiling sheepishly.
Don't worry about it.
Sorry for complaining. It's not your fault. It's not really his fault either. It's okay. Thanks. I was trying to get somewhere with that. Both my dad and my mom insisted that, since this is, He paused, pushing the hair back from his burning face and forced him to continue. It's a date and kind of a fancy party. I needed to bring something. Ooh, did you get us a gift? For you, for inviting me. The conclusion of the story caught you by surprise. You blinked, unsure if you slacked too much on your own preparations for tonight. You got me a present?
That's...
Not really, just this. 𝐬𝐿 reached behind him to take something out of a back pocket. His hand returned to view with him holding a single small rose by the stem. Oh, 𝐬𝐿! Oh my god, he got us our favorite flower. I remember from that moment we told him it, and then he told us like we looked nice with them or something. 𝐬𝐿 threw his gaze to the floor, shyly inching his hand closer to you. It's my favorite. He twitched ever so slightly. Was that on purpose? You remember my favorite flower and got one for me? Why would you say that, girl? Say thank you! His voice cracked under the strain of being confronted on what he had done. Yeah, that's what I did. You're so wonderful. He sputtered a weak laugh out of sheer anxiousness rather than humor. I'm not. You're the one who... No, I think you are. Okay. Dude, oh my god. He didn't have it in him to continue this conversation, even if that meant not being able to refute your assessment. Then you accepted the flower from him. 𝐬𝐿 straightened himself out in response. So, we're gonna be late if we keep standing here. Yeah, let's go already! Right, we better hurry. You've returned home, 𝐬𝐿 in tow. Your mom's welcomed you back. You'd expected them to pile you back outside immediately, but their urge was momentarily stifled as they caught sight of the flower collapsed in your hand. Ew. Ew. Sorry. Thankfully, other than sharing an infuriatingly knowing smile, they took it in stride and didn't say anything. Mom's smug look vanished as she caught sight of the clock. Purpose remembered your mom whisked you out once more into the car and off to your destination. You pulled up at the country club. The sun had sunk deep into the horizon, the last of its light sleepily warming the oncoming night. Your moms led the way to the space around the back where the event was being held. The place had been transformed through decoration with smart tablecloths and elegant ribbons contributing to a festive atmosphere. Musicians dressed in matching black and white were setting up their instruments and flicking through pages of sheet music, and as promised, there was a table covered in plates of carefully prepared food. Destination reached, your parents round you on you and 𝐬𝐿. Things hadn't kicked off yet, but don't let that stop you from enjoying yourselves.
Have fun.
Have fun, we'll be around if you need us.
See you later.
See you. Bye. 𝐬𝐿 waved your moms off. Once they had retreated a distance away, you found him watching you expectantly. What now? I don't know! It wasn't a question but a plea for help. You could tell he definitely didn't know what to do with himself in this situation. We'll have to wait for something to start like the band, but there's stuff going on already. 𝐬𝐿 perked up at that.
Really?
Oh, do you want to do any of those, whatever they are? Ooh, let's check out the snacks! We can go eat some food now, even if the music hasn't started yet. That's okay. It's not too soon. Yeah, I only like these parts because of the free food. Let's go check it out. The two of you wandered over to the refreshment table. With it being early in the night, it had been barely touched, and the plates were nearly as pristine as when they left the kitchens. Oop. The offerings were all tiny and bite-sized, ready to be picked up and sampled. It was immediately apparent that there was plenty to choose from. Just from the level of care with which it was presented, it was clear that this was fancy stuff. 𝐬𝐿 stared at one plate, then another, confused. I think I know some of this. Gross. Do you even think it's edible? They put it on plates for people. You could eat you could put anything on a plate. Not soup. You shook your head and chuckled at the back and forth. At least something came from visiting the table. Good food wasn't anything you'd be getting from it. 𝐬𝐿 smiled at your reaction, seemingly reassured that you were on the same level as him when it came to understanding high cuisine. 𝐬𝐿 squared his shoulders as if gearing up for a match. I'm gonna try it. He picked up a plate and took one appetizer, then another, and another. Soon he realized he was taking one of every single type. You're taking everything? Why not? Okay, let's join him in sampling everything. Maybe there'd be some hidden gems at this time. It was worth a try. Cove nibbled his way through everything the cypress had. The results of his endeavor were mixed. He was revolted by some of the things he tried, openly screwing up his face and rushing to find a drink to wash the taste away. Yet, these bad experiences didn't stop him from plowing on, moving on to the next act with an open mind. There were some foods he was neutral about, dismissing them with a shrug, but best of all were his reactions when he stumbled across something good. Each time caught him by surprise, his expression morphing from worried curiosity to skeptical. I can't say this word, and it's like the easiest word ever. Skeptical. I'm sorry, everyone. Skeptical. Oh my god. I always get skeptical interest before making way for astonished enjoyment. Regardless of how he felt about what he was currently eating, you could tell he was having a good time just being free to eat whatever he laid his eyes on. He thought that was nice too. After going through a round of sampling, let's continue munching. In no time at all, the sun set in full. The lights faded in, and the opening notes of the band's first song rang out. You and Cove stopped what you were doing, turning to contemplate the party that had been steadily unfurling while you were distracted. It was much busier now, both in terms of people and activity. The first steps were taken on to the dance floor, some tentative, others eager, and even if the band hadn't been playing, the constant level of chatter would have ensured that it wasn't a quiet night. With the party now in full swing, your options had increased. Oh, go for it, girl! So, would you like to dance maybe? Really? He blurted out the word without thinking and then clamped a hand over his mouth before anything else could slip out. Really? Cove sucked in a deep breath as if trying to inhale confidence as well as oxygen into his lungs. He gave a single serious nod before holding a trembling hand out towards you. Oh my god! No, you feeling confident. You were at ease with Cove and had nothing to fear from the dance. Quite the contrary. You stood tall, ready to make an impression. He took Cove's outstretched hand. His skin was hot and damp. You squeezed it, giving him a reassuring smile, and together you carefully made your way onto the dance floor. Oh my god, dude. You took your places standing before each other, hands still entwined. Frowning, Cove assessed the situation, trying to puzzle it out like a math problem, before putting his remaining free hand on your shoulder. Oh, dude, we can do that. You repositioned his hand to your waist. You were happy with that. No, do it to your waist, dude. Gently, you took his hand from your shoulder and moved it lower down for the dance. Oh my god. Oh wow, he's fighting an urge to pull away. His eyes shook at the touch. From how tense his arm was, you knew Cove was fighting an urge to pull away. But ultimately, he smiled shyly at you and his grip on your own hand tightened. You gazed up at Cove, who seemed suddenly aware of the few inches he had over you. Cove awkwardly glanced down at you from the corner of his eyes, looking almost apologetic. The music had begun. You both moved, eagerly trying to catch up to it, but your feet took you in opposite directions. Fumbling, the two of you shuffled from side to side, attempting to mirror each other's movements, but always winding up at odds. It was difficult. Cove was struggling, just coordinating his own limbs to rhythm, let alone matching your movements. When Cove's foot ghosted over yours, it was decided it'd be safest for everyone if you simply swayed to the tone. You reared yourself to the floor, your torso gently moving to the sounds. Gratefully, Cove kept his movements small and subtle in the same way. All was fine for a little while. You weren't going to win any dancing and a code leaves with Cove. But that didn't matter when you were treasuring just being so close to him. Cove stepped out of sync with the music knocking against you. He flinched back, nearly pulling you over in the process. You took a hand from him and held it up, halting proceedings so you could Both get your bearings once more. It's okay. What? Instead of fully accepting the reassurance, Cove looked off. Thanks. Then you took Cove's hand once more and gingerly resumed swaying to the music. Cove reluctantly followed suit, his steps small and apprehensive. He mumbled something quietly. This is a long song. You weren't sure how to take that, whether it meant that something was wrong, or if Cove didn't really like dancing, or if he didn't like dancing with you specifically. It made the last couple of minutes of the song uncomfortable as you weighed up what to do and what to say to Cove. When the musicians laid their instruments down, Cove dropped your hands as if they were burning him. He trailed off the dance floor as quickly as he could without breaking into an outright run. When you caught up, he said nothing. You tried to get him into doing something else, but electing anything from him was now impossible. You focused over Cove, wondering how he was finding the evening. He sighed. It was so quiet and unobtrusive that you wouldn't have caught it if you hadn't been watching him. His gaze was roaming with how far away 𝐍𝐸_𝐸, whatever he was searching for couldn't be found at this party. He turned to face you before he could say anything. I want to sit down. We can do that. And we were doing so good too. Cove began to move and you instantly followed him. Yet instead of taking a seat at one of the many free tables as you expected, Cove ignored them as he purposely strode out of the party area. Where are you going? Your call didn't register with him as he continued forward out into the greens of the golf course. You went after him, trying to watch out for the uneven ground underfoot. The clouds at first dislodging into games of golf were perfect for snatching unwary feet even in daylight. Up ahead, Cove didn't appear to have had any difficulty traversing the uneven land. He settled down on one of the little hills of the golf course. You joined him, still unsure over what was going on. What's wrong? Cove started as if he'd acted on instinct, and your question had brought him around to reality again.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. And it's okay. You can go back to the party. Cove is so cute. Oh my god. You didn't budge from your spot. From here, the party was just a glowing haze in the distance. You don't want to leave him behind. I'm not going to leave you here, and I'm not going to drag you back if you don't want to. Oh, thanks. Cove was now more at ease. You tried to find out what had caused him to take flight in the first place. Even thinking the words pained you, but you had to know the answer. Did going to the party with me make you uncomfortable? Logically, you knew that the issue was likely the activity rather than your company. Your heart strained with the worry that you had been at fault, though. Was it because it made you dance? His abrupt departure from that was another indicator that something had gone awry. No! He shook his head empathetically. It's not anything I did tonight. It's definitely not anything you did either. Relief came over you. You suspected to have much, but with this being your very first date, it was hard to be sure. Cove attempted to fill in the gaps of understanding. I don't want to think about going back into the party. I just feel ready to go home. I'm sorry you're not having fun anymore. Cove stared off and his words felt just as distant. It's okay. Cove sat there quietly, gazing out into the shadowy hills and valleys of the golf course. A comfortable, warm wind rustled between you, tousling his hair. It was so far away from the hubbub of the party, you could even make out the quiet sound of crickets chirping. This is kind of like how we first met. Do you remember? Of course I do. You liked him from that very first day. It's so weird. That was a long time ago now. You thought back to the day when Cove first arrived in the neighborhood. He had run away from Mr. Holden, taking solace in the hills behind your house. Oop. Okay. That had been late too on a clear night like today. Looking at the sky, you wondered if the stars that were looking down were the same ones as then. Cove's face was brighter, though you could still see signs of the strain that had caused him departure from the Soiree. When he first sat down, he had curled up like a pill bug, hunched over, knees pressed to his chest, and his arms wrapped around them. He had unwound as you've been talking, straightened up, his hands freed the 𝐍𝐸_𝐸. Oh my god, that's a hard word. It was as though the two of you had constructed your own little world away from everything else, and he was beginning to perk up. The small frown that had crept onto his face was quickly ushered away by a frown. I can't believe I'm on a date. Go followed up on the statement before you could react. He spoke in a distinctly whispered tone, as though you were the only one in the world who he could share these words with. After I said I wanted to come, I wanted to take it back. Excuse me? Not because I really didn't want to do it, but because, I don't know. It seemed like a big deal. It made me feel bad somehow. I started feeling like I couldn't do it, even though I wanted to do it. I guess it was sort of like having to give a presentation in front of the class, even though it was just me and you doing something like we always do. He charged on, his words streaming out. I still think I still could do it, because thinking about it not being there and you and what you might think if I did take it back made me feel way worse than whatever else I felt.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mina. I'm sorry I can't just deal with stuff like this and have to make everything so complicated. So you didn't want to come with us? You didn't have to come. You could have told me. After all this, he had just been feeling bad. Why did he put the both of you through this? Why couldn't he have said something sooner? Sorry, Cove, I'm like annoyed with you. I wanted to come. I'm not wishing I stayed home or that this party never came up. It didn't sound like that. You wanted to get back. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Cove, you can't. You just said the truth. Like, I'm mad right now, honestly. I'm so over this. I can understand him, you know, like what's the word? Like, you know, taking steps slowly of this becoming into like a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship or like dating, but like, you should have told us. Like, this makes no sense. Oh my god, Cope. I'm sorry, I'm so mad, everyone. I'm trying to be understanding with this character, but my patience is running thin. Especially after he says something like that. That makes no sense. He moved his head to look you straight on, eyes meeting yours.
No way.
Yeah, I did. But it's not because I hate parties or because I hate you. I never could. It's just me. There's lots of stuff I want to feel okay doing, and I just don't. I can't explain why. I don't even know why. The problem isn't that someone is trying to include me. You're the one who doesn't have to keep doing things.
I'm sorry.
I'm like this. I always am. And then I make you feel bad. Nobody's going to force you to keep trying. But if you do, then I'm going to keep trying too. When there's something I want to do and I start to feel bad for some reason, I don't want to give up to that and run away, especially if it's for you. Okay, I'm kind of like less mad at that now. He flushed and had to break the fragile eye contact made. Because, I want to keep doing things with you no matter what. I don't want to stop you. I don't want you to stop wanting me there. Because when I do whatever it is for real and you're with me, it all feels better in the end. It always does.
Mina.
So thanks for inviting me, Mina. It was something really special. You nodded without another word. Then you turned your hands over in your lap nervously because Coop doesn't deserve my touch after what he said. He obviously said he didn't want to come with me. Yes, what he said was sweet, but that doesn't change my feelings for him right now. I went from up here to like kind of like down because of what he said, because I have really, I forgive people easily and I can forgive Coop, but what he said, like, no. And that just really sucks because I wanted this to be a fun date, but now that he said that, it's kind of like, what the heck? Like, why'd you even come in the first place if you don't want to come? Cope stood up without warning. The sudden change broke the quiet reverie that had fallen over you. It was such a Cope thing to do. You got up to stand beside him. Oop. What's up? Cope smiled awkwardly, brushing some grass off the side of his pants.
Wanna dance with me?
Okay, dude, you already danced with me. I didn't think you had a good time. It's a dance party, right? And I think he trailed off, brow furrowed as if he was trying to figure out the answer himself. Nodding slowly, he continued. I think I want to dance with you again before it's over. With the only words he had to explain gone, he just held up his hand to you. His expression was soft. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna... Oh my god. I want to say no thanks because he doesn't deserve it. But I want to say I want to dance with you too. Because I want this moment to be left, or step 2, like on the moments, I want it to be left off on a good note. And I don't want to disappoint you guys by not showing it. So, I'll just say I want to dance with you too, but I don't think we deserve to dance because of what you said. But that's just my opinion. So, for those who want me to dance with him, I'll do it because I want to make you guys happy, and, you know, I want to, like, give you the stuff that you guys want to see. But at some point, he's going to have to get over this because I'm not going to keep letting him do this, you know? Then you reached for his hand and took it in yours. You returned hand in hand with the party reaching the end of a long evening. Dancing couples had become scarce. One pair among many were hard to notice, but now the space around you would act as a spotlight. Not that there were many left to watch you. He was still at ease, even buoyed, but despaced, okay, I can't say that word, crowd. This time, there was spring in his step as you walked onto the dance floor together. This is just my thing. I wish he had done this, like, a spring in his step before that. I'm sorry I'm going off right now, but it's just so annoying. 𝐕𝐤 get hold of the hand you had given him back on the little hill. Remembering your earlier attempt at dancing, he placed his free hand on your waist all on his own, though still with a touch of trepidation. 𝐕𝐤 hesitated while you waited for a sign. With the song in progress before you stepped out to dance, there was no signal for the right moment to begin. The same thought occurred to 𝐕𝐤, who shrugged his shoulders with keeping form. Taking that as your starting point, you cautiously began to sway. 𝐕𝐤 readily followed your example. You danced wordlessly, dimly aware of the music guiding you. You were more focused on 𝐕𝐤, whose attention was firmly fastened on you. Unlike before, when he had nervously looked down at his feet, as if trying to keep them in check, his eyes were steady. He didn't allow himself to be shaken when your knees knocked against each other, and you both briefly fumbled your steps. Goodness, I cannot talk. This is just a thing. He does it so, like him not, to be shaken when our knees locked. That is something that I wish he had done before now, because that's like the type of person that I like. Instead, he chuckled, and it was as soft as the roll of the morning tide. His lips curved into a shy crescent. You had been drifting into a dreamlike state, but that expression, one that you'd never seen before, pinned you back to reality. Your heart was caught in a clench, held tight, and yet straining with the effort of thumping harder than it had after any amount of physical exertion. Oh my god, dude. As if in response, his hand began to hold yours with increased strength. He pulled you ever so slightly more towards him. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what? No. Don't tell me they're gonna kiss, dude. That's about what it meant, or what might happen when it was over ease. And the both of you were able to simply have this dance. Time fell away as you took in the small moment. All too soon, the song reached its conclusion. You could have continued quite constantly for some time more. You stilled one hand of yours in his. 𝐕𝐤 showing no sign of moving either. It was hard to let go. You heard your name called out, and that brought the dance truly to an end. You both spun to find Mom yelling for you and 𝐕𝐤. Beside her, Ma was shaking her head.
Sorry.
It's time to go home, Lonnie. I had to get a hold of them somehow. What did you want me to do? Sneak up on them? Her chosen method was admittedly better than that. You still winced as how dazed you'd been when she announced her arrival. 𝐕𝐤 looked so embarrassed that you seriously worried about him fleeing again. This time you didn't think he stopped until he was out of the grounds. Despite 𝐕𝐤's reaction to the scene with your moms, to you it had been a perfect ending to the evening. You were so glad you got a chance to dance with 𝐕𝐤 once more before the night was over. And it definitely was over now. You didn't need to say anything to 𝐕𝐤. The two of you marched wordlessly over to your parents, who were still bickering playfully. Oh, I like this. Standing shoulder to shoulder, your parents surveyed you and 𝐕𝐤. You wondered if they were checking that they were returning Mr. Holden's son in the same state that he'd left the house.
So,
That was quite a night, huh, gang? Wasn't it just? Cove managed a self-conscious smile. Yeah. Mom was smiling too, with an expression so soft it could have cradled a newborn chick.
Well?
And how was your very first date? Please don't start them already. It technically hasn't even ended yet. Fine, fine. Good. Well, we better ready ourselves to get back to Elizabeth. If we're lucky, the house might still be standing.
Yeah.
Oh, shush. She spotted your mom playfully, laughing at the comment. You cast one last look at the party. You saw people exchanging farewells and suppressing yawns. Most of the faces were happy ones, despite the wariness that was starting to creep in. Cove's head was angled away from you. As you watched, wondering what he was looking at, he came around and met your gaze. It was strange, though it had only been a few hours of your life. You felt a little older as a result of attending the party. It was like a step away from the world of your childhood, where dressing up is reserved almost exclusively as a form of play, towards something new that you hadn't yet grasped. Turning away from the final moments of the party, you shelved that thought for another time as your mom eagerly led the way back to the car. As you and Cove tailed after them, you felt childlike once more. Wow. I have a lot to say about that moment. I have a lot to say. I enjoyed it until Cove said that he didn't want to come. And I get that he's, like, sensitive and everything, but it just ticked me off. Like, honestly. And I'm actually kind of glad we danced because I wanted to make the most of this Let's Play as I can. But I also don't want it to be constantly yes towards Cove, but I did it for you guys. So I hope you guys appreciate that, because I was going to say no to dancing with him again. But yeah, that's all for today, everyone. But lastly, you're a gem, and thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye!